Yo,
What up?
not much, man. Not a whole lot going on my way. Just kind of getting my voice back a little bit. I lost it a little bit there over the last couple of days. It was getting a little scratchy, but back to ready to go here to record, and we got a special guest with us.
We do. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi.
You want to tell us who you are?
Who are you?
Who are you, young man?
Um,
You got to talk. This isn't going to be a video.
yeah. Well, I'm not on the camera, anyways.
Well, talk.
I'm Payton. I am Bobby's nephew.
Yeah. Now, Peyton, I know you very well. You know, look, you guys have recorded. You've recorded with Katie and Tommy before. You've done some stuff here on our regular pod, but Bobby, your uncle there, wanted to get you on to talk something that I'm looking forward to because I don't have it yet. I haven't played it yet, but some Donkey Kong Bananza. So I've heard you've sucked some time into that one.
Yep. Pretty good game.
So got any like favorite features that are maybe newer or different to any other Donkey Kong games that people might be familiar with?
Aside from like the braking mechanic, I think it's cool how they have different durabilities and textures and like the sound. Like if you're stepping on like a more durable thing like concrete, it'll sound different while you're running around, or if you're stepping on like dirt or mud, it'll sound different. It's like the little things.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about that.
So the sound design's real cool. And,
Mhm.
what about the different Bonanza forms? What's your favorite Bonanza form?
Probably the elephant.
The elephant?
Mhm.
Now you're gonna fill me in on this, Peyton, because I've your uncle's talked to me a little bit about this, but
Yeah.
you hit it hard on the Bonanza form. I need to know all about this.
There's 5. The Kong one, just a big giant gorilla. It's probably like personally the worst one. I'd never use it. It's so basic. The only thing is a charge punch, and I never use it. It's good in the beginning, just to rack out higher damage, because it does give you like boosts, like buffs and stuff. But then your next one would be the zebra, which lets you run real fast, and you can run on water and stuff. And then you get the ostrich, which lets you glide. And if you go to your skill tree, which that's another thing, I love how they did the skill tree in this. It's awesome. But if you go into your skill tree, you can get it so you can glide farther and for a larger amount of time. Next, you're gonna get the elephant, which is personally the most useful. You can like suck up terrain, no matter how hard it is. Suck it up, and then it stores, so you can like press a button, and it will pop up in a ball, so you can throw it. Like,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
you suck up like a bunch of gold or concrete, you can like pop up a gold ball, and you can throw it. And another thing is, gold. If you get that, you get a chunk of gold, you can throw it, and the gold is explosive, so it'll blow up. And then you get the snake. Also very underwhelming. It's just very, very stereotypical. It winds up into a spring and you jump high.
It's pretty funny though. You mentioned a couple that I'm thinking of, like Donkey Kong Country, and some of the things that you collect, or that the ostrich,
Yeah.
or the little token, the snake as an enemy. Obviously we're talking about a world of animals here, so I would imagine, though, there's still some kind of, overlay there. There has to be something there. The reason why they brought them over.
Well, you do end up seeing Rambi the rhino throughout the different levels.
And then you can see Cranky Kong.
Cranky Kong.
If you listen to his ran-on stories, you can get a free banana.
So, and that's how you fill out the skill trees. You get banandium gems. which take the place of the moons from Super Mario Odyssey.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, there's the single ones, the 3, and then the 5. Each skill point is 5. There are a bunch on every layer. It's a bunch. Sometimes you'll just find one. You'll be digging around, just tunneling with the breaking mechanic, and you just find one. It'll break it, or you'll find a gate, and there will be like 1 or 3, or on different layers. Like if you're on the layer where you unlock the elephant, there will be an elephant specific gate where you have to use the elephant to get through that mini like level, or the zebra or the snake.
Oh, that's cool.
Real
Yeah,
touch in the game.
yeah, you mentioned it a couple times there with the skill tree. So you said you really like the skill tree on that one.
Yeah, it's not super complicated. Like I think they did the design pretty well. It's simple. It's real nice.
That's the part that's killing me right now. I've been playing Diablo 4, and the skill tree's pretty deep. I'm just like I just look for percentage points to make myself better. That's the only thing I can do.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more streamlined than Diablo 4's skill tree.
Yeah, it's a lot more
much.
simple. It's more like dumbed down.
No, that's cool though. It's like, I love Super Mario Odyssey. One of my favorite games that I played, and I know, Bobby and I have talked about it with Donkey Kong Bananza kind of being, maybe from the same mold in that aspect of it. I'm a big Donkey Kong guy. I just don't have a Switch 2 yet, so haven't had my chance to, play it. Plus, I just been playing a lot of pinball, but but now I really need to dive into that, because that just sounds like a fun game.
Yeah. Now, what would you say so far? You've played what, 3 different Switch 2 games? You've played the Breath of the Wild version for Switch, or for Switch 2.
I would count that as a Switch 1 game because it only added like the Zelda Notes app. I didn't use any of the stuff. I just went through and replayed it.
Okay.
Other than the frame rate and stuff.
All right. So then Mario Kart World or Donkey Kong Bonanza, if you were recommending one to somebody like Tom who doesn't have a Switch 2 yet, which game would you recommend and why?
Well, using like background information, he really likes Donkey Kong, so probably Donkey Kong Bonanza. But personally, I love Mario Kart World, but I still think until they update it and add more stuff, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still better.
Really?
Yeah, this is like Mario Kart World dumbs it down a lot, so it doesn't take a lot of like, I don't want to say skill because they're both real simple games, but the other one still took like a minimum amount of skill to be good at. But this one is real, just like I would play my friends in Mario Kart World, and it would be a lot easier for them to catch up. But we would go back to the old one, and I would just be blasting through. Like I would have like a lap lead on them.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I've seen that with Mario Kart games throughout time too. It's once you really honed it down, and if you got really good at it, and then you could play anybody that was just a casual player, you could usually beat them by half a lap or more. And I noticed that with 8 anyway, 8 Deluxe, is that it was pretty much easy for anyone to kind of pick it up and play. So you could always have pretty good competition with just a lot of casual players. And then once you got anyone in there that was halfway decent, it was still built in there a little bit to still at least make it interesting. But yeah, you could get to a point where you're beating people, fairly steadily. Of course, then you get like me, and I start losing to my kids all the time.
Well, that's Payton beats me every time we play. So
yeah, it's not fun getting older, is it?
no, it's not.
Half the time, he don't even make podium.
That's not true.
Sad day for Uncle Bobby.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah, it's true. You just can't. Just gotta keep denying it.
All right. Well, Payton, thank you for joining us. We appreciate
Yeah,
your
man. Well, I thought you have to dive into some more Switch 2 games so we can have you on, and we'll really get into some other titles too. I'd be curious to hear it because I need to learn. So
Yeah. Well, maybe I played the first Daemon Ex Machina because it's just all robots and it's robots and mechs. It's real cool. So maybe if I have a chance, I'll get the new one coming out because that seems pretty interesting too. The first one was pretty cool. It was really customizable and stuff. It was real fun.
cool.
what else is coming out for the Switch 2 that you are looking forward to?
Kirby Air Riders looks pretty cool. But I haven't seen a whole. Oh, Pokemon Z through A looks real cool. I like the new, like, more fun, like, whimsical approach to the Megas instead of having them look more tough and, like, mean and, like the fear factor. I think it's cool to have them be, like, Pokemon, like, fun, like, magical creatures, like, because they're not really supposed to be, like, big and mean. One's an electric rat or mouse. One's a big, fat pig. And one's motorcycle lizard. So I think it's a cool twist to the Megas.
But yeah, no. Once some of this stuff is out and you get a chance to play it, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm always down to hear about it because like right now that's the one system I don't have. So I'm learning more from our podcast here than pretty much anything else, really. So
Yeah, it's real cool. All right, thanks for having me.
yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I do want to keep the Switch 2 conversation going because you and I have had some really off the Donkey Kong conversation anyway, but Switch 2 conversation anyway off pod. And I do want to dive in real quick because we did talk Madden. So I think we do need kind of a follow-up update. I know what happened with it, but you might need to fill in the audience here.
Yeah, so where do I begin? Madden for the Switch 2, when I played it, I wasn't sold on it. I ran it down pretty hard, and everything I said about it was fair. And once I did it, once I played Madden on PS5 and kind of reminded myself when I played Madden 26 on PS5, kind of reminded myself just how bad Madden on the Switch 2 was. It was good for a Switch 2 game, I suppose, is the nicest thing I could say about it. Like I said, it looked pretty.
Right.
But the frame rate was god awful. And there was glitchy stuff all throughout. And some of the glitching, I mean, honestly, some of the glitching carried over to the PS5, but it was more, I don't know if it was necessarily a glitch or if it was just something that they didn't take into account. Like for the Eagles, for example, they play the fight song when you score a touchdown and when you kick the extra point. Well, they had music playing over the fight song.
Oh, yeah.
So that was it's a little thing. It's nitpicky, but it's something that they shouldn't have. You know what I mean?
Right.
You managed to not do it every other year that you've had that in the game, but for some reason this year you screwed it up. But the more and more I think about it, and the more and more news comes out about different things with the Switch 2, the more convinced I am that it's just not feasible for a quote unquote hardcore gamer to have it as the only console in their household. And I say that meaning AAA titles that are not from Nintendo are not performing well on the Switch 2. What I can say is that I know Star Wars Outlaws which is coming out. Which, believe it, I'm going to say something nice about an Ubisoft game. I know that's not par for the course for our podcast, but that game is coming out, and that actually looks halfway decent. The frame rate's not as good, but it still looks good, and the frame rate's decent enough to play it. So that's good. But with all this stuff coming out about the companies not getting dev kits and Nintendo telling them, "Oh, develop it for the Switch 1." It's not surprising to me. I'm wondering how long EA has had a Switch 2 dev kit to work on Madden for it. Because some of the stuff, like I said, man, it looks pretty. It really does. It looks pretty, but the frame rate dropping the way it does, the visual glitches that were happening with the screens and the end, the big screens in the stadiums, and just the way that it felt overall, it did not feel good. It felt like, okay, this would be okay for someone who has never played a Madden game before. This would be okay for someone who hasn't played a Madden since PS3.
Right.
And this is the first time that they're picking one up on a Nintendo system or something like that. But it's something that is almost inexcusable to have released, knowing that, at least in the state that it's in. I don't know, man. It's just not.
And I'm just gonna run out some specs here. And again, this is the thing. It's it's apples to oranges, but based on the age of the console, I think it's a fair thing that we can say this because of exactly what you just said. Let's compare it to the PS5, the original, not the Pro, just the straight PS5, right? And the Switch 2. We'll just look at some specs here. You have an 8-core Zen 2 CPU at 3.5 gigahertz with GPU on the PS5 capable of 10.28 T-flops, 16 gigs of RAM. And let's switch to the Switch 2 real quick. You have an ARM processor, which it's a mobile device. It's not atypical for a mobile device to have that. But whenever you're docked, you're looking at basically a third of the T-flops out of the GPU. That's your big difference right there as to why I think it's like the GPU is just not being able to process these titles, like, even though they're developed, I think they're designed differently anyway. You're going to expect a different experience playing Madden on a PS5 or an Xbox comparative to a Switch 2. We've talked about that. But there's also less RAM too. Not much. It's 12 gig compared to 16. And this might be the other thing too. Your RAM out of the Switch 2 is a DDR5X, where your DDR6 on the PS5. Again, apples and oranges a little bit, because we're talking about a much bigger console, basically talking about a computer, desktop computer size compared to a handheld, right? I mean, you are apples to oranges there, but there's enough years separating the two that we can make some generalized comparisons at this point. That I think it's just Nintendo's going to make some killer software, and they already have. Payton was just on talking about his love for Donkey Kong Bananza, and Mario Kart World seems like a strong title, and you got some other ones going, but really, from the sound of it, at least from everything I'm hearing from you, and just maybe the little articles I pick up here and there, is if I were to buy Madden this year, I should probably buy the PS5 version. If I had both systems.
Right. If you have both. If you're confined to just a Switch 2, then you're kind of SOL unless they patch it somewhere down the line to improve the frame rate. And what's funny is, on the Switch or on the PS5, it gives you the option. It says, how do you want the graphics to work? Do you want performance? Do you want quality? Or do you want frame rate? You know what I mean? Like, it gives you options on how you want to run it. It does not give you those options on the Switch 2. So it's just strange to me that they wouldn't do that, where they wouldn't have a mode that would allow you to have a smoother frame rate. Now, do you have the ability to pull up the Xbox Series S specs versus the Switch 2?
Sure. Xbox Series S versus Switch 2. So in a similar format, we're going to look at the specs here. And we just kind of ran through the specs too on the Switch, or excuse me, the specs on the Switch 2. So we're going to just kind of run through the specs on the Xbox Series S. So just kind of as a quick reminder, you're talking about an ARM processor, around 3 T-flops, capable on docked, roughly 2/3 of that, so 1.7 handheld mode, and 12 gigs of DDR5X RAM on the Switch 2, whereas the Xbox Series S, you are looking at a similar custom 8-core processor that the PS5 has, Zen 2 CPU. The graphics it's a custom one, but a little higher on T-flops than the Switch 2. It's 4, and it's 10 gigs of DDR6 comparative to 12. So it's basically, for the main 3 things, it's an identical box outside of the processor, whereas the Switch 2 is more of a mobile, your ARM processor. I don't know. It just the one listed for the Xbox Series S is just a custom 8-core Zen 2, whereas the PS5 is a Zen 2. So, and you know, it's close.
Right. And that's where I'm confused as to why I'm not, I shouldn't say confused, but why I'm sure they could get it running fairly smoothly with a consistent frame rate, a good consistent frame rate. So why they didn't do that at launch is beyond me.
I was going to ask, do you have any insight on how it runs on an S? Or
I've played, I think it was 25. I played on the S, and it ran fine. You know, it's not as pretty as it is on the PS5 and on the Xbox Series X, but it runs just fine. I didn't have any problems playing Madden on a Series S.
So you would think that, they could take that model based on the hardware specs were, very similar as the S to the Switch 2. Really, I mean, yeah, you would think, right?
Right. And so I just don't get what EA's deal is with that, why it's not running better. And the only thing I can assume is they didn't have as much time with the dev kit, but then why put it out this year?
Yeah, like I said, the big difference between, PS5, the S, the X, whatever, other than, the RAM, GPU stuff, is the CPU. And the Switch 2 just happens to be using, an ARM processor, which typically is what you see in mobile phones, your Samsungs of the world and those sorts of things, which makes sense. I mean, it's the size of a large mobile phone. Let's take the Joy-Cons off. Look at the size of it. You're getting to a point where you're like, what's the newest Note? I don't know what they're up to. But you're getting to a similar size at this point. So
right.
Kudos to Nintendo for packing it all in there. And I still think for bringing together, obviously their titles are going to kill on it, and I think you made comment about how beautiful playing Breath of the Wild, has been on it. And I love stuff like that. And I've always been a huge fan of those games on the original Switch. I thought they looked pretty to begin with,
Right.
So I'm excited to see what it looks like moving forward. But yeah, it sucks. It's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If that's your only, mainline system, and you happen to be a big Madden fan or someone that wants to play a game of that ilk, yeah, I mean, you might be up the creek.
Right. Any kind of AAA game that's going to come out for the Switch 2 that's not produced by Nintendo, I'm going to say avoid it like the plague until they show any kind of better. And what's funny is, I forget who it was. I want to say it was somebody with Gearbox, came out and said, look, it's not it's not actually a problem with the Switch 2. It's that people don't know how to optimize Unreal Engine for it. Because if you look, one of the games that runs really well on it is Fortnite, and Fortnite runs on Unreal Engine. And so all these companies that are having problems running their games and optimizing their games just haven't gotten a hold of how to create games for the Switch 2 yet. But that being said, it makes me wonder really where this generation is going as far as the Switch 2 is concerned, because you figure Nintendo, I mean, look, we're how many months into it? It launched on June 5th, right? As we stand here on September 2nd, we still we've had a couple games announced, but we don't know where Nintendo's going for the next year.
Yeah, I was going to say,
do
you see anything holiday wise, or do you think they'll just push the system?
I think, well, you've got Metroid Prime 4 that's supposed to come out. You've got Pokemon that's coming out in October. You've got Kirby Air Riders that's coming out in November. Something's coming out in September. I don't remember what it is, but you've got, I believe they're going to put Metroid out in December. I think that's going to be your big holiday game. Now, there's supposed to be, and it's rumored, and you know, we talk about these rumors when they come out. It's rumored that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct on Friday, September 12th.
Okay,
so
about 10 days or so.
And they're supposed to talk about what they're doing for, because it is Mario's 40th anniversary. So they're supposed to be announcing, or they supposedly are announcing what's going to, like, what they're going to do to celebrate the 40th anniversary. And so I guess we'll see what happens there. You know, who knows? I would imagine that they'll do some kind of release similar to what they did for the 35th anniversary, but who knows?
Yeah, bring back my game, Super Mario 35.
Right? Make it Super Mario 40.
Except what they should do is make it Super Mario World this time.
That would be cool.
See? You know?
That would be cool. Or Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you can't really do 2.
Yeah.
But
that would be, yeah. People might all turn it off by then.
I love 2.
I love 2 as well.
I think Bink didn't. Is that who it was or didn't like?
I don't know. You know, I don't remember. I like 2. 2 is just such a different animal.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you know, with these companies not getting dev kits, Elden Ring, I think, what is it, Elden Ring or Elden Ring 2? I think Elden Ring 2 is coming out, and it looks atrocious. It's running atrociously on the system. You know, they're having these issues. Borderlands 4, that's the new one that's coming out, supposedly is having all kinds of issues and is not playable at this point on the Switch 2. You know, there's a ton of games that should be coming out on the Switch 2, and the Switch 2 should be able to run it, but the companies just, either because they didn't get the dev kits in time, or they're just having trouble wrapping their heads around the hardware, they're not running right. And
the Elden Ring 2 thing, man, gosh, I can't imagine the power that takes, because the first one's just like a gorgeous, I mean, graphically beautiful game. I played it for quite some time, and I don't know, I felt kind of in and out of it, but yeah, I can't imagine the second one would run on that. I mean, the first one, I don't even know. Heck, try the first one with it. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, man. I'm kind of worried about the Switch 2, and maybe it's just, you know, maybe I'm getting cold feet too quickly, because we know the Nintendo cycle, which is, you know, the GameCube wasn't great. The Wii was gangbusters. The Wii U sucked. Now, the system didn't suck, but the sales sucked.
Right.
You know, it's just like the GameCube. GameCube's one of my favorite Nintendo systems, but it just didn't sell well.
Right.
And, you know, and then the Switch took off, And if you would have told me, oh, the Switch 2 might follow the Nintendo cycle, I would have said no way in hell. Especially with the first month of within the first month of having it, dude, I was ecstatic. I loved it, and I still do. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great little system. But if Nintendo doesn't get their heads out of their asses and straighten out what they're doing with their dev kits and get their ducks in a row with the third party publishers, and hell, even announce, like, give your fan base some hope, give them something to look forward to with a direct, because it's been too long since you've had an actual general direct where you've shown games that Nintendo is planning on releasing.
Right.
You know, there's no reason, honestly, at this point, dude. I know you want to play Donkey Kong, and I know you want to play Mario Kart World. It's hard for me to say, yeah, go. As gung ho as I was in the beginning, I was like, yo, dude, you got to get one. You just got to do it. You got to just bite the bullet and get one. It's hard for me to sit here and say that now.
Yeah, and that
There's
sucks.
just not enough information.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing too. And like, and I can pivot just a little bit. I'm still sitting on my $300 whatever pre-order for my analog. The HDMI capable, the upscaled, whatever you want to call it, version of the Nintendo 64, and that keeps getting pushed out. And it's like I've pre-ordered that a year ago now, and I'm just sitting on money for that thing. And it's like I'm super excited to get it, of course, but it's like, oh, I have money sitting out already, and it's like, yeah, I could cancel that pre-order and go grab a Switch 2 or put the money toward it. But it's like, I now I've kind of waited this long, so
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Honestly, if that's a route that you're going to go, if this Switch 2 Direct happens on the 12th and you see stuff you like in it, maybe that's a route you go. But like I said, as excited as I was and as much of a booster of it as I was in the beginning, my excitement has been killed for it, because I'm looking forward to Pokemon, and I'm looking forward to the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster that's coming out. But the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster that's coming out is coming to Switch 1. Pokemon Legends Z through A is coming to Switch 1. It's not going to run nearly as well as the Switch 2 version, and I can tell you that without even seeing any of it, just because I've seen the difference between Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 1 versus the Switch 2.
Right.
But my enthusiasm has just been completely dampered. So
yeah, I don't know. I still really want to play, World. I still want to play Bonanza. There's still other games that I really want to dive into with it, as they're announced down the road. I would just love to get into Breath of the Wild on it, just to see, the upscale and, maybe the better playability. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's it sucks. It's funny that it takes sitting down and looking at, those third-party titles as just, you got this far with it, and now it's like, to be so behind almost, that's a buzzkill.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like the system itself is hard to get. The system itself is pretty readily available. And I mean, even to the point where you can go to GameStop and pre-order the Z through A bundle right now. You can go to retailers and pre-order that. So it's not like, so even if you don't have the money right now for it, but you want to build up money, now that comes out October 16th. So you got a month and a half to put towards it. It's very easy to get your hands on, not like the Switch 1 was, but the Switch 1 just still, and maybe I'm remembering through rosy colored glasses, but I seem to remember there being more games to play and more excitement about the Switch 1's launch lineup, than there has been with Switch 2 so far.
I think the the cool thing was to me, and maybe I'm wrong, was that the first Switch brought you back into why we all fell in love with the Wii. It's a really simple party stuff. We could play Mario Kart. Yeah, granted, it was not a new game. And a lot of the games you were playing were re-released. Look at what came out for the Switch early on. They were Wii U titles, basically. I mean, it wasn't like it was anything earth-shattering. It just happened to be right place, right time. That's just where it fell with the Switch. And you got basically what the Switch did was it grabbed most of your other than your senior citizens and nursing homes playing Wii bowling. You pretty much grabbed your entire Wii audience back.
Yeah,
that might have fallen off after the Wii U because of whatever reason. That's a whole nother conversation for another day, and we've talked a little bit about that in the past. But that's what you did. You grabbed that audience back. I'm not saying that they're losing it, but there's, like you said, I think, in so many words, that carrot on the stick isn't there right now. I mean, it is for your hardcore fans, especially of certain properties. You got your Pokemon folks. You mentioned, your Metroid, coming out, and you got your hardcore. Like, that's not going to go away. But your casual fan, there's nothing for them right now, really. Yeah, that's not fun,
Right. And especially when you think about it, I mean, obviously, the PlayStation and Xbox have gone up in price, but Nintendo has always been one of your like budget options where you can still get good games at a good price. And now you're talking, they're still the cheapest in the game based on the fact that, you're paying $450 for, you could pay, or no, it's 500. What is it? 500 for the disc driveless PS5 now.
Yeah, let's see.
Because I know it's like 550 for the disc drive version.
Yeah. So it'd be okay. So I'm on.
Unless you go to Walmart. Walmart still has them marked at the pre-tariff prices.
Yeah, I'm on Sony's website right now. We'll just use that as our marker. Digital is 500. The Slim, with the disc is at 550. And then your Pro is at 750.
Right.
And,
so
yeah.
Now you can also get the refurbished from them, and I think that makes the PS5. It's the original, like the fat model, and that's I think 400.
Which is what I have. Yeah, that's what I have. Is the fat disc one is 500? Yeah, or excuse me, 400 for $399.
Yeah. So that's your barrier to entry right now into the gaming. Into gaming is the cheapest thing you can get. That's this current generation is a PS5 with a disc drive for $400, and then it's the Switch. Excuse me, the Switch 2 at $450 or $500, depending upon if you get it with a game. And then you're up to the digital only PS5 Slim and the Xbox. The Xbox. Well, the Xbox Series S, I guess, is actually the cheapest entry, but that's not as powerful. I mean, that's basically your Switch 2.
Right. That's kind of where it's at right now.
Right. So the value isn't basically what it comes down to is Nintendo's not the cheapest on the block anymore.
No, yeah, here's what we're looking at. Your Series S terabyte models going for, and this we're looking at straight Xbox pricing here, not talking about, hey, there's $20 off at Target. We're just talking straight Xbox.com pricing. Xbox Series S terabyte models going for $430. Your Xbox Series X 1 terabyte digital is going for $550. Your 2 terabyte Series X is going for $730. And then there's refurbished ones as well on those. So refurbished Series S is pushing at $380. So,
right.
Which is what, $20 cheaper than a refurbished disc version of a PS5, the fat one. So, Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's
And honestly, you're better off paying the extra $20 and just getting the fat PS5 because number one, it's the actual PS5, not a gimped version of like with the Xbox One or the Xbox Series S. It's not as powerful as your Series X, and it doesn't have a disk drive. With the PS5, you're getting the most powerful version aside from the Pro, and you're getting a disk drive on it.
I was looking. I was curious because I had bought my PS5 November of 2021, and it was an in-store pickup at Target before tax at $4.99. And that was with the disc version. So crazy to think that like all this time later, almost 4 years later, that the refurb of the same exact thing is going for $100 less. Is all.
Yeah.
So I certainly got my enjoyment out of it for that amount of money. Really, I mean, if you think about it, I'm not counting all the software and all the stupid money I spent on Plus, and
Right.
That's
But
all.
it's just
Whatever.
it's just amazing to me now that where we're at in the gaming market where honestly it's starting to price people out. Like, you and I have had a discussion. After this generation, depending upon pricing, I'm probably out. You know, I've got the Switch 2, I've got the PS5, I've got a Wii, I've got an NES and a Genesis. I don't know that there's any more gaming for me to do at this point.
Well, and you say that too, and I've had someone recently reach out to me looking for components for building a gaming rig, and they sent me a whole laundry list of stuff. And I said, look, I'm not really the gaming build guy. Yeah, I'm a tech guy, obviously by trade, but I have folks that do that. But I'll look at it, and it was crazy to see like, people that are just trying to enter into PC gaming. You want to build yourself anything somewhat reasonable. You're going at the couple grand mark already. And,
Right.
and that's your entry point at this stage, which is crazy.
Right.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, I don't know. It shouldn't be that way, but it is what it is. I mean, that's
Well, and the funny thing is, we saw um, the rumors, or I had seen the rumors of the Fremont, the supposed Valve TV box and console, for lack of better wording, and they're talking between $400 and $500, and then it's basically a gaming PC for under your TV, and the stats on it were comparable to what's out there now for the PS5 and the Xbox, but digital only. So
yeah.
that kind of throws a wrench in it right there for me.
Yeah.
Because that would have, even if that had a disk drive on it, that's my go-to then at that point. Because we talk physical media, and at the end of physical media is the end of my gaming.
Right.
And we're apparently closely approaching that. Although there has been a bit of a turnaround where some companies have seen the light as far as game key cards are concerned.
Oh.
Sega being one of them.
So they're going to go back to actually providing the physical media?
They are, in fact. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds has been delayed physically for the Switch 2 so that they can put it on actual game cards.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So that's, yeah. I was wondering that. It's like, good Lord, like you're really, I don't know, shooting yourself in the foot on that one. I mean, because now you're immediately cutting off a good part of your, prospective audience on that just because of that reason. Oh yeah, hey, we're not going to provide you the game card, but we're going to go the Tommy Tallarico method.
Right. So hopefully more companies follow suit and kind of fall in line with that, but we'll see. I guess it's really going to depend on if they get dev kits or not.